A while back, my wife asked me to write a cozy female space heist novel, sort of Ocean's 8 meets Firefly, preferably set in a whimsical starship based on, like, Howl's Moving Castle. I never finished that project, but if that sounds like something that you would like to read, then I recommend The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. Based on the title of this book, I expected something grim and possibly avant-garde, but nothing could be further from the truth. The Long Way is as approachable as a golden retriever. It's about a crew of humans, aliens, and sentient AI traveling the galaxy on a lived-in starship, taking jobs, trying to make ends meet, and having some minor interpersonal troubles and some slightly larger, more galactic troubles along the way. It's cozy, friendly, and kind. It's what you'd get if you took Firefly and made it more mellow. Or if you took Star Trek The Next Generation and made it more casual, quippy, and sexy. There are problems that need to be solved, but they never seem too difficult or threatening. There's at least one action sequence, but the rest of the novel is rainbows on a puppy's cheek. If The Wrong Way Around an Angry Plant had been brought to my writing critique group, I would have criticized it as not having a strong central plot or a clear sense of direction. Yet the popularity of this book shows that those things are secondary to many readers. So who are those readers? Well, if you liked A Long Trip to a Little Planetoid, Goodreads recommends The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
What?
Again, here is a book with a laid-back attitude and a desire for cozy kindness. Murderbot's first-person protagonist is the eponymous Murderbot, who is certainly no Terminator, but instead a chill being who mostly wants to be left alone to watch its sitcoms, but has to get involved to help the humans out of trouble. The Murderbot main character is relatable in its desire to check out of the rat race, to just kick back with some edibles and chill, without worrying about politics or the climate or artificial intelligence or COVID variants. And likewise, Long Way appeals to our desire for hope. Y'all remember Hope? Interestingly to me personally is that both of these series have been recommended endlessly by people who read my book and felt certain that I would love them based on the book that I wrote. So here's my Venn diagram of things. We've got all three of them are pretty wholesome, very lovable characters, creative science fiction. Murderbot and Exiles tend a little bit toward the darker, they have a little bit more action in parts. Long Way and Exiles are both a little bit more philosophical, a little bit more sensory. Long Way and Exiles also have a very direct comparison in that they are about a motley crew on a starship, whereas Murderbot and Exiles got compared more closely in terms of pacing and action. The blurb for The Round Peg in the Square Hole is, follow a motley crew on an exciting journey through space. Discover the meaning of family in the far reaches of the universe in this lighthearted debut space opera. The exact same thing could certainly be said of Crew of Exiles. So if you liked any of these three books, consider checking out the other ones. My book is available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. We all want to believe that the world out there is more rainbows falling on a dog's cheek than it seems at times. These are some books you can read to get that feeling. But here comes the confession. I wasn't actually gripped by Long Way or Murderbot. I think that's because the themes in them are different from the themes that matter to me, the themes that I wrote about in Crew of Exiles. And the similarities that other people picked up on, which are certainly there, weren't as important to me. What other people picked up on was the wholesome vibe, the relatively chill experience. These are all books that you can read before bed, largely without fear of nightmares, or without fear of being so on edge about what's going to happen next that you stay up until 3 a.m. That's a downside for some people. These are not roller coaster books, they're lazy river experiences. But it's also nice to know that there's room for that in the reading world. Whoa. Before we fade out, a question for the author. How in the world did you query this book? What did your synopsis look like? Weren't agents saying that the central plot was ignored for too much of the book, that it wasn't gripping enough, that it wouldn't have readers turning pages? Oh, there it is. This book was originally self-published. There was a Kickstarter campaign for it, and it was only picked up by traditional publishers after it became successful. This is pretty frustrating to see as a writer, or not, or maybe it's inspiring. For me, it's a little bit frustrating because I am spending a lot of time and energy sending out query letters. And not just that, for me, the hard part is researching these agents, finding people who I think are good enough of a match that I am going to modify my query, modify my synopsis, and tweak things just right to whatever their request is, whatever materials they want to receive from me. It's a really hard market to get into. It's hard to get published for anyone, much less a science fiction author. And I gotta say, now, there are at least 3 books that I know of, very successful science fiction, all of which were self-published, which makes me think that they were initially rejected by the industry. I don't know, publishing industry. Like, where's the case that, like, you serve a purpose? I don't know. Maybe I should be excited about it. Maybe self-publishing is the way to go. It certainly doesn't feel like that is necessarily the future, at least not in self-publishing's current incarnation, the way it exists right now. But traditional publishing feels like it's also in a bit of a crisis. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts on these books. Go check out The Long Way Round, The Long Way to a Small Angry whatever the title of that one is. I'll put it up on the screen. Check out Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, and check out Crew of Exiles by me.